My homeless neighbor fed me for 5 years after my parents kicked me out at 16, unaware that 20 years later I would buy the apartment building she lives in, forgive all her debts and make her co-owner. Before we dive in, please take a second to subscribe and tell us where you're watching from. It means more than you know. Now let's continue this story. I still remember the smell of my mother's perfume mixing with the stench of my father's whiskey breath when they cornered me in the kitchen. I was 16, holding my acceptance letter to the governor's school for the arts. My ticket out, my dream. You think you special? Mama's voice cut through me like glass. You think you better than us? My older brother Calvin leaned against the doorframe, smirking. My sister Christine sat at the table, examining her nails like I wasn't about to lose everything. She always thought she was different, Christine muttered. Too good for the family business. The family business. That's what they called it. Running numbers, moving packages, keeping the neighborhood's worst habits fed. I'd refused to participate since I turned 14 and they tolerated it. Till now. This art school nonsense ends tonight, Daddy said, snatching the letter from my hands. You're 17 next month. You'll work the corner with Christine or you're done here. I'm 16 now. And I won't do it. My voice shook but held firm. Mama's laugh was bitter. Then get out. You got 30 minutes to pack whatever fits in one bag. Calvin grabbed my arm when I tried to protest, his grip bruising. You heard her. You ain't family no more. 28 minutes later, I stood on the street with a backpack, $43, and nowhere to go. The door slammed behind me with a finality that still echoes in my nightmares. That's when I saw her. Miss Rosa, the homeless woman who lived in the alley beside our building, watching me with knowing eyes that had seen too much suffering. Miss Rosa's home was a carefully constructed fortress of cardboard boxes and blue tarps behind the dumpsters. She was maybe 50, maybe 70. The streets aged people in ways that confused time. Her clothes were layered and mismatched, but her eyes were sharp, missing nothing. Your mama finally did it, huh? She said, not unkindly. I heard the yelling. I tried not to cry. Failed. I don't know where to go. She patted the concrete beside her sleeping bag. Tonight you stay here. Tomorrow we figure it out. I should have been scared. A 16-year-old girl on the streets with a homeless stranger. But something in Miss Rosa's face reminded me of my grandmother before she passed. A hardness that protected something precious underneath. That night she shared her dinner. 2 sandwiches from the church outreach program, slightly stale but edible. You got dreams in you, she said, studying my face in the dim streetlight. I can tell. Your people can't see it 'cause they're too busy drowning. But I see you, child. How do you end up here? I asked, immediately regretting the rudeness. She didn't flinch. Lost my husband to cancer. Medical bills took the house. Lost my job when I couldn't focus through the grief. It's a shorter fall than people think. She pulled out an extra blanket from somewhere in her fortress. But I ain't lost everything. Still got my dignity. Still got my humanity. Still know right from wrong. Why are you helping me? She smiled, revealing a missing tooth. Because somebody should have helped me once. And because you remind me of my daughter. She'd be about your age now if she'd lived. The grief in those words was bottomless. Miss Rosa ran the streets like a corporation and I became her protégé. She taught me which soup kitchens served on which days, which shelters were safe for young women, where to shower at the community center. You're still going to school, she insisted when I suggested dropping out. Education is the only way you're getting off these streets permanently. I transferred to a new school across town, claiming I'd moved in with an aunt. Every morning I'd wash up at the shelter, change into my clean clothes in a gas station bathroom, and become a normal teenager. Nobody knew I slept in an alley. Miss Rosa made sure of it. She'd wake me at 5 a.m. without fail, stand watch while I changed, inspect my appearance like a military general. Head up, she'd say. You're not homeless. You're temporarily between permanent residences. Her humor was dark but necessary. We developed routines. I'd go to school, she'd collect cans and spare change. Evenings we'd meet back at the fortress, as I'd started calling it. She'd somehow acquired dinner. Sometimes from churches, sometimes from restaurant dumpsters she'd convinced managers to fill with edible extras, sometimes from sources I didn't ask about. "This city throws away more food than some countries eat," she'd say, presenting me with perfectly good pizza someone had rejected for being too cold. Weekends I worked under the table at a laundromat. Mrs. Allen, the owner, knew my situation somehow. Miss Rosa's network was vast, and paid me cash, no questions asked. "You save every penny," Miss Rosa commanded. "Every single penny. You're building an escape fund." 3 months in, I had $300 hidden in a Ziploc bag in my backpack. Felt like 3 million. I was careful never to walk past my old building. But 7 months after they kicked me out, Calvin found me at school. He was waiting by the gates, leaning against his car like he owned the world. My stomach dropped. "Baby sis," he called out, all fake warmth. "Been looking everywhere for you." I tried to walk away. He followed. "Come on now, don't be like that. Mama wants to talk." The students around us watched curiously. I kept walking. He grabbed my arm, his second mistake, the first being showing up at all. I said, "Mama wants to talk to you. Let go of me." My voice was steady despite my racing heart. A teacher, Mr. Phillips, appeared. "Is there a problem here?" Calvin released me, turning on his charm. "No sir, just talking to my sister. Family business." Mr. Phillips looked at me. I shook my head slightly. "This young man was just leaving, weren't you?" Calvin's mask slipped for a second, showing the anger underneath. "This ain't over," he muttered to me. "Mama knows about your little art school applications. Would be a shame if they knew you've been lying about your address." The threat hung in the air like poison. He left, but the damage was done. They were watching. They knew where I went to school. My safe space wasn't safe anymore. That night I told Miss Rosa everything. She listened, her face growing harder with each word. "They want something," she said finally. "People like that don't come around unless they want something. You be careful, baby girl. Real careful. What would you do in this situation? Let me know in the comments." 2 weeks later, Christine showed up. She looked different, thinner, with dark circles under her eyes that makeup couldn't quite hide. She caught me at the library where I studied after school. "We need to talk," she said, sliding into the chair across from me. I started packing my books. "Don't," she said quietly. "Please. Just 5 minutes." Something in her voice made me pause. "What do you want?" She glanced around nervously. "They're in trouble. Daddy owes money to some people. Bad people. $30,000 by the end of the month, or..." She didn't finish. Didn't need to. "And this concerns me how. You got money saved up. We know you work at that laundromat. Mama figured you probably got a couple thousand stashed somewhere." I laughed, bitter and sharp. "So you kick me out, leave me on the streets, and now you want my money?" Christine had the decency to look ashamed. "It was wrong. What they did was wrong. But you're still family. You'd really let Daddy get killed over money?" "He threw away his daughter over principles. Yes, I'd let him face the consequences of his choices." The words felt powerful leaving my mouth. Christine's shame morphed into anger. "You selfish bitch. We gave you everything for 16 years. You gave me trauma and abandonment. Miss Rosa, a homeless woman with nothing, gave me more in 7 months than you gave me in 16 years. Miss Rosa." Christine's eyes narrowed. "The crazy lady who lives in the alley? That's who you're choosing over your blood. Every single time." She stood up, her chair scraping loudly. "You'll regret this. When Daddy's gone, that's on you. Live with that." Governor's School for the Arts accepted me with a full scholarship, plus a living stipend for housing and supplies. When I opened the letter, Miss Rosa cried, actual tears streaming down her weathered face. "My baby's going to be somebody," she kept saying. "My baby's getting out." I had 3 months until the fall semester. I worked triple shifts at the laundromat, saved every penny. Mrs. Allen gave me extra hours, paid me more than the job was worth. "You're a good kid," she said. "The world needs more good kids succeeding." I was exhausted, running on caffeine and dreams, but I was doing it. Then Daddy died. Not the way Christine had predicted. No mysterious creditors, no violence. Heart attack, sudden and final. Mama called me from a number I didn't recognize, her voice smaller than I'd ever heard it. Your father's gone. Funeral's Saturday at 2. She hung up before I could respond. Miss Rosa found me sobbing in the fortress that night. It's okay to grieve, she said, holding me like the mother mine had never been. Even bad fathers are still fathers. I didn't go to the funeral. Sent flowers instead, signed with just my name. Mama called again afterward, vitriolic and cruel. You couldn't even show your face? After everything we did for you? You're dead to me. You hear me? Dead. And when I die, don't you dare show up then either. The line went dead. Miss Rosa took the phone from my shaking hands. She's drowning and trying to pull you under, she said. Don't let her. 3 weeks before school started, I bought Miss Rosa something I'd been saving for. A warm winter coat from the thrift store, barely worn, and a new sleeping bag rated for sub-zero temperatures. You're keeping these here, Miss Rosa said firmly when I tried to give her the coat and sleeping bag. For when you come visit. We both knew I wouldn't be coming back much. The school was 2 hours away and I'd be busy building a new life. But we pretended. Every weekend, I lied. Every single weekend, she agreed. The night before I left, she made a ceremony of it. She'd somehow acquired a small cake from the bakery, day-old but perfect, with "Congratulations" written in shaky blue icing. We sat in the fortress eating it with plastic forks as the city hummed around us. You're going to forget about me, she said matter-of-factly. Not because you're cruel but because you're human. You'll get busy with classes and new friends and building your life. And that's good. That's what's supposed to happen. I could never forget you. I meant it then. Believed it absolutely. She smiled sadly. You say that now. But time and distance, they change things. Just promise me something. Anything. Don't ever become like them. Your family. Don't let success make you forget what it's like to have nothing. Don't look at people like me and see garbage. Promise me. I promise. We hugged and she felt so small in my arms, so fragile. When did she get so thin? When did she start looking so old? I'd been too focused on my own survival to notice hers declining. You saved my life, I whispered. Nah, she said. You saved your own life. I just stood guard while you did it. I left the next morning with everything I owned in a backpack and a duffel bag. Turned back once to wave. She was standing in the alley entrance wearing her new coat, waving back. I can still see her there sometimes, frozen in that moment. This story gets even more emotional. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what happens next. Art school transformed me. I discovered I had a talent for design. Not just creating art but creating spaces. I switched majors to architecture with a minor in urban planning. Graduated top of my class. Got recruited by a prestigious firm before graduation. By 25, I was designing apartment complexes and mixed-use developments. By 30, I had my own firm. I'd kept Miss Rosa's lessons close. Save money, stay humble, remember where you came from. I lived below my means, invested aggressively, built wealth steadily. My firm specialized in affordable housing with dignity, buildings that didn't look like poor people projects, but like places anyone would be proud to call home. I thought about Miss Rosa every time I designed a unit. Made sure there were community spaces, security features, resources for residents who needed help. But I didn't go back. Not in 10 years. Not in 15. I told myself I was too busy, that I'd go soon, that she'd understand. I sent money to the community center where we used to shower, earmarked for homeless services. Donated to shelters and outreach programs. Convinced myself that was enough. It wasn't. I knew it wasn't. But facing her after abandoning her felt impossible. Then at 36, my firm got approached about a development opportunity. A rundown apartment building in my old neighborhood. The owner wanted to sell and the city was offering tax incentives for renovation that maintained affordable units. I took the meeting without looking at the address carefully. When I pulled up to the site, my heart stopped. It was my old building. The building where I'd lived until 16. Where Miss Rosa had lived in the alley beside it. The alley was still there. The fortress was gone. I bought the building that week. Didn't haggle, didn't negotiate. The previous owner was elderly, tired, ready to be done with the headaches of being a landlord. The paperwork revealed something that made my stomach turn. Tenant number 107, Rosa Martinez, owed $18,000 in back rent spanning 5 years. There was an eviction notice pending, court date set for 2 weeks out. Rosa Martinez. Miss Rosa had a full name. Had a history. Had been someone before the streets swallowed her. I pulled her rental history. She'd moved into an apartment in my old building 12 years ago, 2 years after I left. Got a job as a custodian at a nearby school. Was paying rent consistently for 3 years. Then the payments stopped. Rent board complaints piled up. But she was never actually evicted, just drowning in accumulating debt. I called the property manager who'd been handling the building. What's the situation with 107? Ms. Martinez? Sweet lady, but she fell apart a few years back. Lost her job, started drinking, basically became a recluse. We should have evicted her years ago, but Mr. Peterson, the previous owner, he had a soft spot. Kept saying he'd handle it next month. Now she's your problem. My problem. The woman who saved my life was now my problem. I told the manager to cancel the eviction, that I'd handle it personally. That night I couldn't sleep. I drafted a dozen texts, deleted them all. How do you reach out to someone after 16 years of silence? How do you say, I forgot about you, while you remembered to finally get off the streets only to lose it all again? The next morning I drove to the building. Stood outside apartment 107. Raised my hand to knock. Couldn't do it. Stood there like an idiot for 10 minutes before walking away. I finally knocked 3 days later. The door cracked open, chain lock still attached. The woman who peered out looked nothing like Miss Rosa. She was gaunt, gray, with eyes that barely focused. The apartment behind her smelled of cigarettes and decay. What? Her voice was hoarse, suspicious. Miss Rosa? It's me. From before. From the alley. The confusion on her face was answer enough. She didn't remember me. 16 years of guilt, of wondering, of carrying her wisdom with me everywhere. And she didn't remember. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't owe this month's rent yet. I got till the 15th. No, I'm not. I'm the new owner. I wanted to talk about your situation. Something flickered in her eyes. Fear. You're here to throw me out. No. I wanted to. I ain't got nowhere to go. You understand? Nowhere. I'm 63 years old. No family. No friends. This is it for me. 63. She was only 47 when she saved me. The streets had aged her decades in the years before she got housing. And whatever had happened since had aged her more. Please, I tried again. I knew you before. You helped me when I don't remember you. He was crying now, desperate, broken. I don't remember nothing from back then. I'm sick, okay? My mind don't work right sometimes. Please don't throw me out. Please. I couldn't do it. Couldn't tell her who I was while she was like this. You're not being evicted, I managed. Your debt is forgiven. All of it. You can stay. I left her standing in the doorway, confused and crying, while I fell apart in my car. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. I was supposed to be her hero. He was supposed to remember. I hired a private investigator. Needed to know what happened to her. The report came back 3 weeks later, and each page was more devastating than the last. Rosa Martinez, born 1962, married at 19 to Daniel Martinez. One daughter, Sophie, born 1981. Daniel died of cancer in 2004. Sophie died in a car accident in 2006, age 25. Rosa lost the house to medical debt in 2007. Became homeless in 2008. In 2013, 2 years after I abandoned her, she got into a transitional housing program, then secured the apartment and the custodial job. He was doing it. She was surviving. Then in 2016 she was assaulted while walking home from work. Head trauma. Cognitive damage. Lost the job. Applied for disability. Got denied. Applied again. Denied again. Started drinking to cope with the headaches and memory problems. Debt accumulated. Isolation deepened. The investigator included a note. Subject shows signs of probable traumatic brain injury and depression. Should be evaluated for disability benefits and mental health services. Currently has no support system or advocacy. I sat in my office, this beautiful space in my successful firm, and sobbed like the 16-year-old I'd been. She'd saved me when she had nothing. I'd become successful and forgotten her. And when she'd needed someone to save her back, there was nobody. My assistant found me there an hour later. Are you okay? No, I said honestly. But I'm about to fix something I should have fixed years ago. I called my lawyer. Drew up papers making Rosa part owner of the building, 49% to my 51%. Called a disability attorney I knew. Called a social worker. Called a doctor who specialized in traumatic brain injury. Built an army to help her the way she'd once helped me. Before I could execute any of my plans, they showed up. Mama, Calvin, and Christine. Somehow they'd heard I bought the building in the old neighborhood. Somehow they knew I was successful. They came to my office unannounced and my assistant tried to stop them. It's fine, I said, though it wasn't. Let them in. Mama looked older but still hard. Calvin had gained weight, looked soft and mean. Christine seemed tired, defeated. Look at you, Mama said, studying my corner office. All fancy now. Too good to return your family's calls. What calls? You told me I was dead to you. At Daddy's funeral. Remember? That was grief talking. You know I didn't mean it. The gaslighting was instant, familiar. What do you want? Calvin answered. We heard you bought the old building. We want an family investment, you know. We helped raise you, we deserve a piece of your success. The audacity was breathtaking. You kicked me out at 16. We were tough on you, Mama said. Made you strong. You should be thanking us. Thanking you. I stood up. I lived on the streets because of you. I ate from dumpsters. I showered in public bathrooms. I was homeless. Christine spoke up for the first time. You seem fine now. Better than fine. So obviously it worked out. It worked out because a homeless woman showed me more love in 7 months than you showed me in 16 years. It worked out despite you, not because of you. That crazy lady in the alley? Calvin laughed. You're comparing us to her? We're your blood. And she was my family. More family than you ever were. I pressed the intercom button. Security, please escort these people out. They're not to be allowed back in this building. Mama's face twisted with rage. You'll regret this. You think you're better than us? You're nothing. You'll always be nothing. I moved Miss Rosa, to a better unit in the building, ground floor with accessibility features. Paid for her medical care, got her properly diagnosed. Traumatic brain injury, complex PTSD, early stage dementia. Got her disability benefits approved, connected her with therapy and community support services. She'd never remember me from the alley. The assault had taken those years from her permanently. But slowly she stabilized. The drinking stopped. The apartment became clean, organized. She started smiling sometimes. 6 months after I bought the building, I sat with her in her new living room and told her everything. Who I was. What she'd done for me. How she'd saved my life. She cried. I don't remember, she said. I'm so sorry, I don't remember you. I know. But I remember. I remember everything. I showed her the ownership papers. You own 49% of this building. You'll receive income from it for the rest of your life. You'll never worry about rent or eviction or having nowhere to go. Ever. Why? She asked. I don't even remember helping you. Because you did help me. Because you saw a terrified kid and chose kindness when you had every reason to protect yourself first. Because you taught me that family isn't blood, it's who shows up. And I'm showing up now. Late, but I'm here. She held my hand with her frail, shaking one. Your parents. Haven't spoken to them in months. They wanted money. I gave them nothing. She smiled. Good girl. We sat in comfortable silence. Outside, the old neighborhood hummed with life. The building was being renovated with care. Affordable units for people who needed second chances. A community center on the ground floor. Job training programs. Everything I'd learned from her made real. I used to tell myself I was temporarily between permanent residences, I said. You taught me that. Sounds like something a crazy optimistic homeless lady would say, she chuckled. Then softer, sounds like something a survivor would say. Thank you for reading. If this story touched you, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, family is who shows up. And sometimes the people who save us are the ones society has forgotten. Let's not forget them. Drop a comment about what this story meant to you. I read every single one. Until next time, remember, you're not homeless, you're just temporarily between permanent residences.